Greetings! Well, do I ever have a treat for you today? You guys have all probably been wondering what's my answer going to be to the big history of your favorite video game challenge. It was a tough one. It really was, because as most of you know, I've been playing video games pretty much since the dawn of video games. The first game I ever played was Pong, and then I've played pretty much every major video game system since then. But I do confess I have quite a soft spot for the old school, the nostalgia trips, you know. So I thought we'd kick it real old school today. So as my favorite game, now this is not my all-time favorite game of all time, it's one of many that I consider my favorite games, but this is certainly one of my favorite old school games. I am of course talking about, from the Atari 2600, what many say is one of the greatest video games ever made, and I tend to concur, Yars Revenge. That's right. So this is actually my original Atari 2600 cartridge of Yars Revenge. There you go. Very cool. I'm not actually sure where the instructions went, but I know I have them somewhere, but for whatever reason they're not with the cartridge anymore. Let's see, a little bit of history of Yars Revenge. Well, Yars Revenge was originally programmed by a fellow by the name of Howard Scott Warshaw, and something interesting about Mr. Warshaw is he also programmed what many people consider to be the worst video game of all time, namely E.T., the Extraterrestrial. He also did the game for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he did another one that was actually unreleased, Saboteur, I believe it was called. Anyhow, Yars Revenge was definitely his crowning achievement and the one that he is most fondly remembered for. Actually, if you poke around YouTube a little bit, there's an old G4 TV spot with Howard Warshaw in it, where he talks about the fact that he programmed both the worst and best games from the Atari era. Yeah, so basically the game itself started off as sort of a variant of Star Castle, in which, in Star Castle, it was a very similar concept, where you'd be a little spaceship and you had to break through the enemy shield to get at the enemy inside. However, as the game was developing, it began to bear less and less resemblance to Star Castle, so Atari decided to just do it as an IP, basically, their own title, and boy, was that ever a good move on their part, because once again, if you poke around YouTube a little bit and just type in Yars Revenge, you'll see that everybody and their dog has done a video about Yars Revenge. So I wanted to do mine a little bit differently. So first off, I thought we would get into the backstory of the game, so you kind of understand what's going on. Now, a lot of the cartridges came packed with a comic book. This is a nice little glossy full-color comic that basically gives you the backstory of the game. But, you know, rather than me just showing you the comic, it seems like motion comics are all the rage nowadays. I mean, we just had the one from Watchmen, and there was the Dead Space one, of course, which I really enjoyed, and countless other comics have been adapted as motion comics, so why don't I do my little take on it and give you my personal motion comic adaptation of the Yars Revenge comic book. And I'll see you after.
Yars Revenge, the Quotile Ultimatum.
The new recruit is here, sir.
Very well. Send him in. We'll dispense with preliminaries and get right down to business. First, you will learn the secrets of our sacred past. We Yars are actually descended from the common housefly, still found on planet Earth. Our early ancestors were brought into space quite accidentally, on board the Earth's first interstellar excursion vehicle.
More food supplies, Jake. Put 'em in Galley 5. Sure wish I could go. Imagine traveling into another solar system.
The ship is launched with a burst of flame and hurtles through the Earth's atmosphere. It heads deep into the future.
A strange formation just appeared in our path. No time now to...
Eventually, this noteworthy ship crashed right here in the Zaranyzerak solar system. When the radioactive dust finally settled, the flies, miraculously the only survivors, had gained new powers and transformed into magnificent creatures, forever after known as Yars. We Yars populated the 3rd, 4th, and 5th planets of the Zaranyzerak solar system, where we established an orderly and productive community. We were able to live peacefully and enjoy our newfound powers. And indeed, our powers are extraordinary. We can fly freely from planet to planet. We can devour any substance and convert it into energy missiles powerful enough to vaporize solid rock. To protect our peaceful community, we designed the invincible Zorlon cannon. An attack came before we were able to complete the cannon. Our enemy, the Quotile, decimated Planet 4 without warning, dissolving it into a radioactive field. Immediately, our top priority became driving the Quotile from our midst. We must avenge the destruction of Planet 4. We devised a secret plan, making use of our strengths, our unfinished cannon, and what little we know of the enemy. I will now disclose the details of this plan, for your eyes only. The enemy is based on a moon, just across the neutral zone, which used to be Planet 4. Their base is protected by an energy shield, composed of cosmic cells. The Quotile hides behind the shield and fires destroyer missiles. And worse, something called swirls. We are safe from destroyer missiles in the neutral zone, but while taking cover there, we lose our own ability to fire and communicate. We are not safe from swirls in the zone. They are deadly anywhere. To prepare for battle, Yars pass through the armament center. Outfitted as warriors, they take off from the base and attempt to complete the following mission. First, a path must be broken through the Quotile shield by firing energy missiles at it or devouring the cells. Then, the Zorlon cannon must be called in to do the rest. Because we never finished the aiming system, the cannon is difficult, even dangerous, to use. So listen carefully. To summon the cannon, you must devour a cell or touch the Quotile. This will signal our base to launch the cannon in a horizontal line with your flight course. To aim the cannon, line it up with the Quotile. Communicate back to the base when you're ready to fire. Then fly out of the way, fast. If you don't, the cannon will invariably hit you first. Now you have heard our sacred history and learned the details of our battle mission. Now it is up to you to destroy the enemy and avenge our community.
And so, another brave Yar flies off to fight the Quotile. Will this one scout have the courage and skill needed to rid the Yars of a ruthless enemy? And, most important, can you help him?
Spread your wings and take off to the morning sky. Fly, your warriors, fly. Attack, your warriors, attack. Attack, your warriors, attack.
So there you go. That is the epic tale of the Yars and why they are seeking revenge against the Quotile. I noticed when I did the recording I kept mispronouncing it Quotile. It's actually Quotile. Although interestingly enough, for the past 20 years or so I always pronounced it as Quotile. So Quotile, 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 whatever. It's the bad guy and you gotta blow him up. That's really all you need to know. Now, I could go into storage and dig out the old ColecoVision and fire up the actual cartridge, but that would just be far too much of a pain in the ass than it's worth. So for the sake of convenience, we're going to use the Atari Anthology re-release version of Yars Revenge, which conveniently plays on my PS2, which I already have hooked up. So there you go. Just makes it a lot easier for me to record it and less chances of glitches, because while my ColecoVision does still work for the most part, it's a little bit tetchy, shall we say. In case you're wondering, how do you play an Atari game on a ColecoVision? I actually have the Atari 2600 expansion module, which lets me play Atari games in addition to ColecoVision games. So there you go. Very cool little piece of technology that you just wouldn't see today. So anyway, I don't want to gyp you guys by only giving you like 30 seconds of gameplay. I want to give you a proper rundown of the game and what I like about it and stuff like that. So we're going to save the gameplay segment for part 2, which I'll be doing right after this one. So stay tuned. See you there.